Hey YouTube, long time no see. Yeah. Been a little busy. Projects have kind of stood still, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Haven't missed anything. But figured it was about time I shot some kind of an update video, at least to show all the new toys, where current projects are, and yeah, kind of give my stand on things that are happening with YouTube, because honestly I don't have to worry about any of it, but there's a lot of other YouTubers that I follow that probably are going to be affected by it. Obviously I'm talking about the whole COPPA thing. Those of you that do watch my channel are probably thinking right now, well, what do you have to worry about? You're just some guy that wrenches on lawnmowers out in his shed, welds a few things. Well, I don't have anything to worry about. I shouldn't. If somebody wants to label this content as for children, well, they're probably crazy. But yeah, let's just walk around and see all the new stuff and check out the old stuff. Oh, mind the wind. Mother Nature doesn't want to play nice. First on the old stuff, Sears 4x4 hasn't really done anything. I tack welded it, made sure everything was all square. That was pretty much as far as I got with it. Yeah, I got some Cub snowblowers I need to work on. And over the summer, I picked up another pair of Cub Cadets. Not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing with them. One might go up for sale, and the other one, the more mangled of the two, I'm actually thinking about making a forklift out of. So I've seen it done, I think it looks cool, and it'd probably be really handy. So yeah, that's one thing that might be going on. Oh, not sure if you can make them out under the pile of junk, but right there is one of the real mowers off of Doc's Bannerman, and the other two are back there somewhere. The idea with these is to actually make a Category 0 3-point rotary mower. Now, I won't divulge too far into the idea with that, but I will be working on this, and I will be making a video log on it, so stay tuned for that. So, back of the shed. I can't remember if I'd shown anybody my Co-op Blackhawk walk-behind tractor. I've got 2 of the 3 attachments that would have came with it. I have the harrows and the plow. Apparently there was a set of discs to go with it. I do have a set of David Bradley discs that I'll probably modify to work on the thing. Right now I have them modded so they work on a sleeve hitch on one of my Cub Cadets. Next to that is a second Sears ST12 that I actually got from a friend of mine. He had a whole bunch of Sears stuff all laying around. This was a parts machine, and he just told me I could have it because, well, he needed space. Ahead of that is a Massey Ferguson 10, MF10. Now, I'd gotten this with the motor and a snowblower. The snowblower is buried, so I can't really show you guys, but it's just a restoration project for now. I got new tires for the thing. I need to get the front tires replaced, but oh wait, no. Correction, that is not the 10. That is the 12. It's just got the 10's hood on it for some reason. Oh, yeah. Mind the crappy camera angle. This place is packed. That is the MF10, even though it's got the 12 hood. I can prove it by looking at the serial plate, but I know it's the 10 because it's got the tiny tires in the back right now. But this one I had purchased, and all it was a rolling chassis. Now, I have another piece to this puzzle that I'll show you guys that slightly impressed and pissed off Doc at the same time when I showed him it, because he got really jealous. Okay, so mind the mess in here. This place turns into a catch-all when things break. So you're probably wondering, okay, what can you get that would make Doc jealous? Well, Y'all can read that, right? Diesel, Honda. So I managed to pick up a 9-horse GD 411 diesel Honda motor, a single cylinder air cooled diesel engine. I've been trying to get my hands on a Yanmar ever since Doc started messing around with the things. Then one day, just randomly, I go down to a guy's place that's got a Cub Cadet mower deck for sale, because I was looking for one of my machines. Mine was all rotted, this thing was in decent shape. So I'm sitting there talking to the guy in his garage, and I look over on the bench, and what I thought was a Yanmar, and he's like, oh, no, it's a Honda. I'm like, what? Honda? He pulls it out, shows me the casting on it, and instantly I told him, I was like, okay, how much you want for it? So he told me a price, I told him, okay, I'll be back. About 2 weeks later, I was back, I had it in the back of my Jeep, and it was home. Sent Doc a couple pictures. All I got is, you bastard, I'm jealous. So that will be going in the Massey Ferguson 10, because it doesn't have a motor. Now the Massey 12's motor is up here on the bench. See, whoever rebuilt this thing put the connecting rod in backwards like a complete moron. So when you fire the thing up, it knocks like crazy. Not ideal, considering Tecumsehs are a little hard to find parts for, or at least OEM parts. I know the aftermarket is becoming a little bit more lenient, or a little bit more abundant, I mean, with replacement parts nowadays, so rebuilding that should be fine. And if all else fails, oh, of course I got no light in here. That blue thing down there is actually a 12 horse off of a Sears SS12 that I used to have. So, for all you pulling tractor guys, I know a lot of you use these Firestone tri-ribs. These are a freaking awesome tire. And I had actually purchased these. Cost me an arm and a leg to get up to Canada for, well, you can't see it back there, but my Cub Cadet 1250s under there. And that is a project that I'm going to finish this summer. It's going to get painted, rebuilt, and I already got hydraulic lift for it, so I want it working. So, mind the quality difference. Apparently my camera battery wanted to die, so we got to go with the cell phone. So, this is another project I'm going to be working on. This is a Baja Doodlebug. I got this in a trade from Doc, and he actually picked it up from a guy north of his location for me. I traded him they're called a Baja Dirt Bug up here in Canada when they're sold by Canadian Tire, but for all the American guys, you'd know it as a MB200 mini bike. I originally wanted something like a Doodlebug or a Taco mini bike, one of the older style mini bikes for a project. So the idea is to make this thing look like an old flat fender Jeep style mini bike. It's going to have a 5-horse Briggs & Stratton. Oops, sorry. It's going to have a 5-horse Briggs & Stratton flat head on it. I'm going to look for some tires that look kind of old. I'll probably just go with like little nubby 3-wheeler style tires on it. But other than that, it's going to be all olive green, and I'm going to do an old school 2-speed automatic transmission in this thing. What that consists of is basically 2 centrifugal clutches and a one-way bearing. So your first clutch engages, you have your low speed, and once you get up to a certain RPM at a certain speed, the second clutch engages and it overrides the one-way bearing, giving you your second speed. So I'll still have lots of low-end torque and a decent top speed. So that's going to be a project for this summer at some point. So I just need to finish cleaning up the frame because, well, those are not, come on camera, those are not my welds. Somebody had relocated that bracket from where it originally was. I do actually prefer it up here, but they had also moved the seat back. Now, I don't like the idea of this seat sitting farther back. And actually see where the original bracket was and where they had drilled a hole, camera, where they had drilled a hole Yeah. And then they had moved this bracket back. And yeah, some more nice welds. And they had some really goofy looking bar right across up here with the foot pegs relocated, because they originally, the foot pegs were down here and they had them welded up here on that bar, and obviously they had modified it for a bigger motor, so stay tuned for that project. Oh yeah, and for you guys there pondering in the video what you're looking at, I traded in the JK that Doc and I made our little road trip up to Quebec to pick up his Mazda RX-7 with. Well, as you can tell, I upgraded a lot. So everybody say hello to Ruby, my 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. Ruby got the same treatment as my last Jeep. It's got a 2-inch Jeep Performance suspension lift, and I actually went with full 35 by 12.5-inch tires. It's the same Toyo Open Country MT tires. It's still got the same 3.6 liter V6, but with a manual transmission behind it again. It's a upgraded version of the 6-speed that the JK had. I'm not too fond of it because they moved reverse over to the other side, and it's got the same little shift lockout thing that my Focus had. And yeah, I've sat in traffic playing with that stupid little thing and ended up putting the Jeep in reverse so many times. I'm so gonna back into somebody with this thing. But yeah, I've had it for a couple months now. It showed up 2 weeks before my birthday, so yeah, happy birthday for me. But honestly, as much hate as these things are getting from the Jeep community, I freaking love it. Everybody's always told me I needed a pickup truck, and well, I has a pickup truck, and I has a Jeep. So, one Backburner project I don't think I've ever talked about was a snowblower that I wanted to build for the front of my old four-wheeler. Well, I don't have the four-wheeler anymore, but I do have my GT6000. Honestly, I can't even remember if I did an update video talking about what I was doing with the GT6000 and the D600 Kubota that I have for it, but I'm actually thinking if I can get my hands on another one of these Craftsman 30, I think it was a 34-inch? No. 32-inch. If I can get another one of these things, because I just want the augers so I can extend this thing. But the idea is to take the plate here, move it over here, either make a new shaft or extend the shaft, and then put the other set of augers out here, so that I essentially, well, I don't double the width, but pretty close to double it. And then I want to make it so it'll mount onto the front of the GT6000. Pretty similar to how Neil, Redneck Computer Geek, has his all set up. Like, literally all you need is a single pivot point and some way to lift it. He has his rigged up with a little ATV winch. I like hydraulics. The GT6000, once it becomes the GT6000D, is going to be a fully hydraulic system. Or have a fully hydraulic system, I mean. Go away, cat. But yeah. But this will actually be closer to a category 0 3-point assembly on it. So it's, yeah, I'm kind of rambling here, but it's going to be a snowblower for the GT6000. So I keep going on about calling this thing the GT6000D and having a D600 Kubota. Well, anybody that follows Doc should know this looks familiar. Honestly, I can't remember if I've posted a video about this thing. But yeah, if this is just a recap, so yeah, 1980, I want to say this thing was either an 87 or an 88. I'd have to look it up. But it's got the same Roper 633A style transmission. I say style because this is the later model where it's got the... for anybody that's tried to take the transmission out of one of this style mowers and put it in the older Craftsman, like that's way at the back, you actually have to modify the frame. Doc found that out the hard way. Ask me how I know that. So yeah, the casting actually has the mounting boss about 2 inches farther out. But if it is here, there it is. Okay, so I got this old power steering pump back here, which still has the plugs in it, so it should still be fine. And I got a pulley for it. So the hydraulic pump and everything's all going to be shoved back in there. I haven't figured out where I'm putting the reservoir. I want to set this thing up so I got dual mower batteries on it, so it kind of has that diesel aesthetic to it, where you look at transports, they usually have like 2 batteries to start the thing. But yeah, this thing is going to be rigged up with a category 3 or category 0 3-point in the back end, and I might do the same up front for front mounting attachments, which will also tie in with those real mowers that I got from Doc. So yeah, GT 6000D. And for those of you who have a GT 6000 and have always pondered about case garden tractors, so I had recently picked this up in a trade. I traded a 1961 Cub Cadet original. Yes, hate on me, I regret, but you know what? This thing is fully hydraulic. Hydraulic lift, hydraulic drive, not hydrostatic, hydraulic. I've had so many people, it's like, oh, they call that hydrostat. No, it's hydraulic. This thing has a hydraulic pump on the motor, a control valve, which is controlled by that lever. The valve is actually down underneath the plate, and it runs a hydraulic motor. Oh, you can't see it anywhere. Here. There we go. Now you can see the lines. So you got a pump on the motor that goes to a control valve, and it runs a hydraulic motor on a big honkin' 2-speed rear axle. So this thing's pretty cool. This thing's pretty powerful. Mind you, I need to pull the valve apart, figure out what's going on with it. Either that or I need to rebuild the pump. Because when you actually work this thing and it starts getting hot, it starts losing power. You can sit there with the control lever full forward and you're barely moving forward. Oh yeah, it's a case 444. But, which kind of sucks, it's actually got a Kohler 12 horse in it. So somebody had repowered this thing with a different motor. Yeah. Didn't really go over too well when I noticed that, but I just kept my cool and it's like, you know what? It's big, it's hydraulic, I have plans. I'm either going to try and find, I highly doubt it, or build a rear category 1 or category 0 3-point for the thing. See a theme? Everything's going 3-point. Mind you, some stuff might stay as a sleeve hitch. My theory is 12 horse and down, sleeve hitch. 12 horse or above, 3-point. So, I also, yeah, mind me walking around. This is so unprofessional for YouTube. So the front mounts on these things were pretty decent from what I've read. So I might take a whack at making a front 3-point for this thing as well, just like the GT 6000. Again, see a theme. But Yeah, just the design of it and the specs for 3-point on the front end, I'm not 100% sure. I really need to start going through this thing and trying to figure out all the issues with it. Now, one thing that I'm happy is this thing actually has the original seat pan with, well, okay, I'm thinking about another seat, but the seat plates for these things were pretty easy to mock up. So I can actually make a seat for this that looks pretty much factory. Tires for it. These tires are actually got pilot tread, but they are all dry rotted and cracking up like really bad. They looked great when I picked it up, but now that I've actually started to use it, it's really starting to fall apart. A recap on some of this stuff. Again, I can't remember if I've said anything about the Cub Cadet 124. That is going to be turned into a row crop, so it's going to get the narrowed front end, taller, narrow rear tires. I finally got my hands on a fiberglass seat for this thing, so don't worry, Daner, I'm actually doing something with this. Yeah. Now, again, I'm a little lacking in light, so just bear with me, but I don't recall showing this, but I might as well. Now, you see that lever right there? And I hope you guys can see it, but there's an output shaft on the back of this thing. So this is one of the few Cub Cadet 3-speed transmissions that actually came with rear PTO. Mind you, it spins backwards, and it's at, I think, 510 RPM instead of the 540 that it's supposed to be at. Whoop-de-doo. Honestly, it's a different style shaft anyway, so if I actually get a coupler made up that I can use with the thing, or find one, I'm just going to be making the equipment that uses it just function off of it only. So Cub Cadet never made attachments that utilize that gearbox or that output shaft. And if you actually wanted to use that PTO with any other things like bale elevators, grain augers, stuff like that, you actually had to buy a gearbox that reversed it and stepped up the RPM a little bit. Try and finish the shot out. So this is another thing that I'd gotten last winter in a trade. I actually made a guy a grater blade for this thing, and when he had it, it didn't run. So one carburetor later, a whole bunch of wiring, as you can tell by the fuse running to the coil to make this thing fire up. So the thing's got a problem with the ignition. Every now and then the spark would drop out, but this is a 1965. It's either 1964 or 1965 Cub Cadet 123, and it is currently my tilling machine. The only problem is I chewed up the belt and burnt out the PTO clutch at the end of the season, so I need to rebuild that before spring so I can rototill the garden. But this is actually a really fun machine to drive. It is the first hydrostat that Cub Cadet had released. Way too close for you guys to actually look at the thing. Sorry if this video is a little long-winded, but yeah, this was the first hydrostatic drive Cub Cadet that Cub Cadet had released, and one of the first ones that came out after the 70 and the 100. Like I said, I had a Cub Cadet, International Cub Cadet, or Cub Cadet Original, which was a 61, but I had traded it for the Orange Beast. I regret it. I want to try and get my hands on another one, but till then, this one's pretty fun. So out here, Mudbug is in a bit of disarray at the moment. I am, I am working on a rear rack for this thing, and I got to build a front bumper for it for the next time I take it out. But this is kind of a priority to get running. Now, the Ford, this is going to be my 6x6 with the dump box on the back of it. It was going to be a all-terrain lawn tractor forum build-off entry, but I've kind of given up on that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've gone over this. I'll actually go into some detail about this thing. All I'm going to say is it's going to be a 6x6, and I got this cool little generator actually in that trade for those two Cub Cadets. It's an old Kohler generator. The sad part is whoever was working on it last broke the crank. But other than that, I still have the shields and everything for it, so I'll probably just take the crank to a machine shop, see if I can't get them to thread the end of it so I can put the flywheel back on. But at least then that gives me another standby generator.